What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Yannis Pappas Hour. Catch me this weekend in North Carolina at the Raleigh Improv. I'll be there Friday and Saturday for 4 shows. And then in June, on June 22nd, I will be in Atlantic City at Harris on June 22nd. Tickets are available at yannispappascomedy.com. Join our Patreon. We're small, we're mighty, we're proud of it. Our bonus episodes are sure to make you guffaw till you drop out the door. Patreon.com/Yannis Pappas Hour. We appreciate all our members, all our subscribers who, as you can tell, this isn't a heavily sponsored show. So your money comes in handy, keeps us up and running. We're like NPR right now. We're NPR when it started. So much appreciated. And let's get into this episode.
Yannis Pappas. Yeah. When you all tucked up in the baby long, and the news online going on and on, what's right and wrong, and there's something up. Now here comes a great kid you know you can trust. From the true who's who, to the news and cameras, to the fake politics and the propaganda. Get his kids screwed in, got a lot to say. Oh shit, it's about to be a long day. It's a long day.
Guys, we are brought to you today by Freeze Pipe. They have gotten rid of that harsh toke, the agony of the throat burning, the coughing attacks. They've made it a smooth experience when you smoke cannabis. Your solution is Freeze Pipe. These things are so beautiful. They look like you could display them. They're so beautiful. They sent me a bunch. They're absolutely beautiful. From pipes to bongs, there's a chilly solution for you that's going to remove the afterburn and help reduce coughing. Thank God. Finally, you can smoke without... So visit thefreezepipe.com. Use the code Yannis for 10% off of your entire order. That's thefreezepipe.com and code Yannis for 10% off. Order today, and you will get free shipping and say goodbye to harsh smoke forever. It's a good day today. It's a good day. It's a bipolar day in New York City. It was sunny all morning, and then it got very cloudy. It's been nuclear fallout weather for a long time. New York is much like London now. Just a lot of rain, a lot of warmth, not as cold, but it's just gray and rainy. And I'm just trying to figure out what's next, man. What's next? What's the culture doing? It moves so fast now. Things move so fast. We're definitely going to be entering, mark my words, into an era of extreme, macho, masculine comedy. It's going to be comedy MMA at the same time. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be a roast. And then whoever wins the roast has to fight an MMA fighter to the death. The billionaires are jacked. They are into MMA. They're into yachts. They're no longer sniffing fingers. They're no longer getting stuffed in lockers. Mark Zuckerberg now is wearing his chain out like this, which used to be exclusive to guys who were cool like me. I've always been cool. But, of course, you put on glasses and people just call you Bob Saget or they call you Rick Moranis. I look like neither one of those guys. I'm a handsome guy whose eyes are just a little close together, but other than that, I have good hair and a really good face. That's why my wife is a 10. I'm sick of people telling me she's way out of my league. She's not. I'm a fucking 10. I'll fuck your wife right in front of you, especially if she comes to one of my shows. I'll fuck your mom. I'll fuck your wife. I'll fuck your sister. I'll fuck your goat. I'm Greek. I'll fuck everything.
You'll fuck everything.
I'm 6 foot. I'm fucking 200 pounds. I can throw hands. I'm not a nerd. I was a good basketball player. I was an athlete. I always got the hot girl. Just when you need glasses, people just think you're a nerd because you're putting glasses on. Maybe I need to get cool rim glasses.
Someone's coming off a little defensive right now.
I got to get some Yeezys. There's Mark Zuckerberg with his chain out. He's a chain out guy now. He could be walking around Bensonhurst. The only thing he can't hide is the big old Jew face.
Whoa.
You can't get rid of that. Sometimes the Jew genetics just show right there on the face.
The beard helps.
The beard helps.
Yeah.
Which means, as Jesse says, you look better with less face. So now he's got a beard. He's got the chain out. He's got an expensive chain. I mean, the kid looks like he's dressed like Chris D'Elia. Somebody had to take that role. Just the chain out. Pretty soon a tattoo on the neck. Yeah, I mean, that's just my look. I have the same look I had freshman. There's a picture of me I found from freshman year in college where I just had the same size chain outside a t-shirt, and that's what I wear. My style goes on my sneakers. But there's Jeff Bezos. He's got a $500 million yacht, and he put his girlfriend, he made a statue on the front of the yacht of his girlfriend. You can never be too rich to be putang whipped. He's putang whipped. I mean, she's Latina. She's laying it on his geek ass. His geek ass is just getting laid. He's enjoying his money, man.
He is, yeah. Yes, he is.
He's enjoying his money.
I mean, I've never seen anyone so strong.
It's the USA. It's the United States of Amazon. Everyone shops. You can shop for anything. He's an all-in-one digital shop. He's an all-in-one digital shop. I don't know why I did two. Shop. I guess it was the rhythm. He's an all-in-one digital shop. It's better than all-in-one digital shop. And, he's made a lot of money from that. And what does men do with their money? If they do it right, they give it to a lady. That's when you do it right. You give it all to a lady. And she's no slouch, right? She was a newscaster. She's got $100,000. Before she met him, she had $100,000. Right. She could afford what's the everyone? What are the middle class girls? What's the God damn it? Not a Kenneth Cole. Kenneth Cole's like the middle class guy trying to be fancy outfit, and the women have Marc Jacobs. Yeah, before she met him, she had a Marc Jacobs bag.
She could afford to shop at Whole Foods.
She could be at Whole Foods. She had $100,000.
She's one step up from Trader Joe's.
She was a local newswoman.
Yeah.
So she had $75,000 a year job.
She might have had a Volkswagen Golf.
She was probably married to a guy who had like $1 million. She was a Scottsdale elite. Elite. Was she from Arizona?
I don't know.
She was from somewhere where there's a lot of Mexicans, right? Is she Mexican? Probably.
Lauren Sanchez.
Spanish. I don't know. Well, now, no. She went from being Mexican to going to the Spanish house. She's European Mexican now. She had $100,000, and now she's privy to, she's involved in, she's on the periphery of billions. His yacht is $500 million. His yacht is O'Terry's fucking salary. His yacht is this is just one of those days where I boxed and I didn't get enough protein or whatever. What is the quarterback of the Chiefs? My mind is working slow today.
Mahomes.
His yacht is Mahomes' salary, which is the highest salary that a football player has ever got, is what he spent on his fucking transportation that he doesn't need, on his float thing, his fun float thing.
He uses 2 weeks a year.
Yeah, and he probably paid like another $50 million to have that sculpture put on the front. Listen, dude. Listen, I don't think socialism works either, but when you see a multi-billionaire do this, you want to take his money. I'm a socialist not on principle. I'm a socialist by spite.
You just don't want him.
Yeah, and look, I'm not afraid to admit it. And I think if people just came out and said, hey, look, we could obviously see this doesn't really work for the human condition as well as capitalism. It works as a great check on capitalism, but in and of itself, it really doesn't work for the human condition without capitalism. But I'm a socialist by spite. And then we're honest about it. Maybe we're going to come. I think we're coming up on an honest period. I think people are. I don't know. This is what I see. Podcasts are all down. Numbers are down. Live tickets are down. Unless your name is Shane Gillis and Andrew Schultz, tickets are down for or Tony Henschel podcast up. We've said it before. Because for comedy is such big. It's so huge. It's the biggest it's ever been. But in order to get big, you have to do so many things outside of being funny. I listened back to our last Patreon episode, and I was like, wow, this is just a funny, great episode. I'm a harsh critic of other stuff. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was like, I listened to it. I laughed. There's hard laughs. It's very entertaining. But much like my comedy, I had another guy message me about the Netflix festival. He's like, I saw all the show. He's like, I went to 1 million shows. Yours was the best. I know what I did in the room. I'm good. I'm competent. Like Billy Joel said, I'm competent.
Now, who was it? Ted Sarandos?
It wasn't Ted
Oh,
Sarandos.
damn it.
But I'm competent. And Billy Joel said once on 60 Minutes, they go, why are you so good or whatever? He goes, I just think I'm competent. Like, I know how to write a song. I know how to write the jingles. And he says, I think sometimes when you're competent in a sea of incompetence, people think you're more than you are. But I'm just competent. I've been doing it 20 years. I'm competent. I've been doing podcasting a long time. I'm competent. Before podcast started, I used to do these types of rants on stage. I'm competent at what I do, you know? But in order to get big now, you have to do so many other things outside of what you're competent at. You got to be a CEO. I got to get Dylan Dallas I got to get people I'm not interested in getting on my podcast. And you just have to have the stomach for that. I don't have the stomach for that. I don't get excited to reach out to Dylan Dallas. I'm sorry, Dylan Dallas. Will you follow me? But you're not listening to this. But you got to get Dylan Dallas. You got to get the CIA guy on. You got to get the CIA guy on that's making the rounds with the long hair. You got to get fucking one of the Paul brothers. You know, they're just, I'm not interested in talking to any of them. You know, you don't have to pull up Dylan Dallas. He's a fucking jiu-jitsu guy.
Oh.
You got to do all this stuff. I got to adjust my balls. You have to get who's hot, who's trending, who's like digitally trending, and get them on your pods. You got to put all this effort in to book all these people who are going to bring numbers. And I just don't have the stomach. Not because it just doesn't fucking excite me. I don't want to talk to another journalist. I just want to do comedy and make jokes. I want to make funny. I want to put my perspective out there. My podcast, this is the sane person's podcast. And I think that's why our numbers are low. It's an insane time. Like I said on the Patreon, we live in a MoMA museum world where all form is broken down, all rules are broken down. Nobody knows what's true. Everyone's pretending it's art. That was the funny part of it, where I go, that's what we're doing. I said it in the Patreon episode. I'm doing some teasers. Patreon.com/Yannis Pappas Hour. Some man standing in front of you with a wig on and a dick is going, you got to call him ma'am. It's the same feeling you get when you go in the moment. You see some fucking TV on the floor with a cup on top, and it's a display, and you're supposed to go like, that's art. And you're getting bullied into the fact that that's art. When in your gut, you're going, that's not art. And, you know, even you can support trans women all you want, but you're looking at a guy with an Adam's apple who's running around with girls playing lacrosse, and he's 6'4", and they're 5'2", and he's got socks stuffed in his bra and hairy legs, and you got to go, that's a lady. You know, that's why we're living in a MoMA world. You're being bullied into things that aren't real. You got to say that they're real.
That Zin was holding up for dear life.
It was holding up for dear life, that Zin.
Your Zin was about to pop out of your mouth.
And listen, you think it's a coincidence that mental health is at an all-time high when everyone is trying to be like the better person? Everyone's trying to consider everyone's feelings. Isn't that ironic? Being like, hey, we're going to be the nicest generation. We're going to consider everybody. But you know what? You know what you have to do that? You have to lie. You got to lie a lot. You got to lie and walk around and go like, everything's great. Everyone's got to be great. You can't notice anything. You can't make a joke about black people being tardy. You can't make a joke about Asian women not driving. It's not hacky. It's true. I saw an accident. I was at the I took my daughter to the carnival. We went to some carnival. There was a carnival. She went on all the rides. And while she was getting her face painted into one of the Spidey people, she wanted to be Ghost Spider from Spidey and Friends. And while she was getting her face painted as Ghost Spidey, at this carnival we were at, there was just we heard a crash. So me and this guy walked out, and this guy was just not involved in this world, this modern world. He was a guy who works with his hands in the city. And I know that because I work in the city, And he said it in a way where he's like, I don't go in to do paperwork. You know when a guy talks like that?
Yep.
He's like, I work in the city. He's a guy who saved up to get his house outside of his city. And he probably lives with a lot of cops, a lot of firefighters. You know, he's probably down there in Pelham or, you know, Staten Island or something like that. And for him, it's a fucking dream. He's probably in Levittown. He's somewhere. And he walks up, and the crash was between an Asian woman and this guy, right? And we go up there, and I asked the lady, I go, what happened? Whose fault was it? And the women were these women, right? They were just women that didn't want to say, right? They're like,
okay.
oh, I don't know. They were both trying to turn.
They're trying to be polite.
Yeah. And I come back, he walks back, and I'm talking to the lady. He walks back to the finger painting because his son was getting his face painted too. So he walks back, and then he's talking to the women who are doing the painting on the face, and he goes, they can't drive. He goes, they can't drive. And the women were mortified, but he didn't care. He had no social awareness. He didn't know. He was saying something in his mind that's just true. And here's the deal, because it's very close to true. This is the second time. One time I came home late at night, and it was misty out, and I made the turn onto my block, and there was just a Tesla. This is a true story. There was a Tesla just on a rock wall. It was just on a rock wall.
Balancing on a wall.
It was balancing on a rock wall. This is a true story. So I pulled over. I was the only person because where I live, it's very desolate. And it was misty out. And I go, and in the driver's seat is a Chinese lady. Okay, she's got the airbag on, and she's going like, I just live up there. And she had an accent, so I'm just doing that. I'm not trying to be offensive, right? It's how she talked. It's like a poo, like that's how immigrants talk, right? They talk like that. If you come from India and you immigrate here, you don't sound like Tom Brady. You sound like a poo. So it's not a racist accent. It's an accurate accent. Okay? So that's what she said. She's like, I just need help. She was like dazed, and she was like trying to get out of the car, and like
You were the first one on the scene?
I was the only one on
You were
the
the
scene.
only one on the
I
scene.
was, yeah. And she was just sitting there, and like she was like, I need to call my son.
Oh,
She's like,
shit.
I just need to go up there. And she's trying to get, and I don't know much, but just out of instinct, I was like, don't get out of the car. First of all, you're balancing on a rock wall. Second of all, the airbag is out, so I know that you have some sort of body trauma. Oh, and there was a little blood. And I can't remember where it was, but there was like a little blood, like maybe on her head or her nose. I can't remember. So she was obviously dazed. She was also Asian, so she was in a different Tai Chi realm. And I go, you have to sit there. I have to call 911. Like, you need to sit there. And I had the right instincts because I called 911 and I reported it. I gave the coordinates, and they came, and she kept trying to get out of the car. And it was those guys, those firefighter guys that don't live in that world. And they went, lady. You were just in a car accident. Your car's on a wall. Stay in the car. Like, we have to take you out a certain way. We don't know what kind of neck that you can't just get out. Your airbag is out. You're trapped in the fucking car, you know? And I remember just hearing, lady. They just said,
Yeah.
lady. Stop trying to get out of the fucking car. You know, they weren't being polite. But it was an Asian woman.
Dude, kudos to you. I would have just kept driving. I can't even get involved with that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
why would you do that?
Because it's
You just
too
leave her
much.
up there?
Yeah, just leave her. I'd call later. I'd
Yeah.
get home and they'd be like, listen, there's someone stuck on a highway back there.
That's why that kid died, because you didn't help him.
Dude, I can't get involved.
What was his name again? Andrew.
Andre.
Andre.
I,
Yeah.
and I helped him. I
Yeah.
helped Andre.
You helped him by going, come on, man, walk off.
R.I.P. I told him to go take a shit.
Yeah, you told him to go take a shit. He could have very well died if he had a different friend there.
He could have.
Yeah, if a friend was like, hey, man, do you have any heart conditions or anything? And then he would have said, yeah, and been like, dude, call an ambulance. He would have been like, I don't have insurance. Be like, dude, you're going to be dead. You don't play around with that.
He was like, I don't have insurance. I was like, all right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you're
fine.
like, hey, you make your own decisions.
R.I.P. Andre.
Yeah, you don't want a guy who goes with the flow when you're in a life or death. You don't want a guy, you don't want a Jesse's Control goes with the flow. You need somebody with high anxiety. Anxiety can be very helpful. Emma Stone actually said like she likes anxiety because it gets her out of bed in the morning. She had a positive spin on it. And I was like, that's nice. She's like, yeah, anxiety makes you feel like you need to be doing something more. I'm too comfortable. And that's good. It's sort of like the opposite of just fucking doing nothing. So, which is what Jesse did when his friend was dying right in front of him. But my point is, it was an Asian lady. It was another. I've seen like 10 accidents with Asian people.
Well, there's that game when you're behind the bad driver. You always guess, is it woman, old person,
so
or Asian?
Often, I just hate to say, so often you'll get cut off, or someone won't put on a blinker, and they'll just come over. Just a very dangerous lane switch on a highway without a blinker, and they do it late when you're close. It's a very specific move, and then you fucking curse, and then you go around, and you have to look, and a lot of times it'll just either be an old woman, it's an old woman who's the steering wheel's like above her head, or an Asian. It's rarely just a guy.
No, the absolute worst, the Hasidic Jews. The worst drivers on the planet.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of those
and
out
they're
there.
very in their own
they're always
neighborhood.
got like carts. There's got big cars with like 18 kids in there. Yeah, but it's like, so he just comes back and he goes, and then my favorite part, he goes to them, and they were just mortified, right? Because they couldn't enjoy his playful racism. These women.
Oh, you're back to the carnival now.
Me and my wife was cracking up. My wife was just cracking up, right? Because she was enjoying the playful racism. She was not asking this guy to change who he was. This guy builds buildings, or he does something very important that we need that now is like overlooked, like, oh my God, because of her feelings. And so these women were like mortified, but he didn't care. He kept going. And he kept going. He goes, trust me. He goes, I work in the city. And that's where he goes. He goes, I work in the city. They can't drive. He goes, I'm telling you, they can't drive. They can't drive. And then he goes like this. My favorite goes, he goes, and you know, he goes, the lady was standing out there going like this. Like, I don't know. And then he goes, lady, you know what you did. You know whose fault it is. And that's exactly what he said. You know what you did. And you know whose fault it is. And he was laughing and smiling.
Yeah.
And he was having a good old time.
Those guys are the best.
He was just
They are the
having a
best.
good old time, going like, hey, I live in the reality. I live in the world. Stereotypes, they don't drop from the sky.
That blue collar ball breaking.
Listen,
is the
stereotypes
best.
don't drop from the sky. What do you want from me? They don't drop from the sky. It doesn't mean all of them, but it means like, hey, maybe a disproportionate amount.
So there is a prodigy racer, F1.
No, that's
car
different.
racer.
Now listen, if the Asians focus on it.
Yeah, because they have Tokyo Drift and all that
Oh,
shit.
dude, if they
Yeah.
focus on it, they look at what they did with like hip hop dancing, baseball. I mean, if they focus on it, look at what they did with cars.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
Manufacturing and engineering. If the Asians focus on it, but if it's just Asian citizen, like usually a female Asian citizen, I mean, this woman was on the rock wall, you know? And I asked her, like, her English was very broken, but I was like, what happened? She's like, oh, she swerved from the deer, which is not what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to hit
Yeah,
the deer.
to go right through
Your
them, right?
instinct, yeah. If you swerve, that's what's
That's
going to
tough
happen.
to
You heard
do.
you say it's tough, but you have to do it, and you have to have it in your mind. You can try to stop short. You can try to hit the brakes, but you don't swerve, right? So it's all the country people know that, just like trigger discipline. This is just what all these fucking crackers know. You hit the fucking deer, and if you gotta have trigger discipline, don't put your finger on the thing. Keep it there. Have trigger discipline with your service weapon. And they don't call it a gun; they call it your weapon, your service weapon. Your girl, your girlfriend. A lot of them call it my girlfriend, my love. They don't call it a gun; they call it my love, my lifesaver. My American arm of justice, my Second Amendment tool, my handy tool, my get off my lawn sign. They call it a bunch of things. No others allowed. Build a wall friend. Whatever they call it, they don't call it a gun, but it's usually a service weapon or weapon.
Yeah,
my weapon.
My Osama neutralizer.
Yeah, my Osama neutralizer, my terrorist chaser. They got a bunch of fun names for it. You know, a lot of them sleep with it. They tuck it in at night.
right.
They clean it all the time. They fuck them. I don't know what they do. They
Make
love them.
Sweet love to that day.
They love those things.
Yeah.
And I get it. And so they know all about trigger discipline. They know all about how to hit a deer. and you don't swerve. But this Asian lady, she swerved and she ended up on a rock. She was on the wall.
Jesus.
She was like up on, those old rock walls.
So was there a cliff on the other side?
There was a stream on the other side.
Stream.
She was up on it. She was fucking up on the wall, and it was a wide wall, so she wasn't really balancing, but she was her car was fucking totaled. The airbag was out. And of course, when they took her out, they put her on the stretcher with her neck and everything, because they have to do that in order to get her there. But she just wanted to go home. She thought I was just going to make it home. But I'm just saying, back to the original point is like, you have to do a lot of lying. You got to do a lot of pretending to try to be like woke Jesus. And everyone's just trying to be like, ignore reality. I think that's why roasts are going to be big right now, because it's just this purge of people just saying the most horrific thing that we all know is true. Like Tom Brady just got fucking obliterated about his wife and about her cheating, and people just want to say true things.
You know what's funny? Because in the promo, he said he's unroastable, and I believed him.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm unroastable. And I'm like, yeah, you are kind of unroastable.
And then he was very roastable.
They got him.
Oh, they roasted him. Mostly about his wife. Mostly about his wife. But yeah, people just want to say true things. That's why people like Donald Trump. I mean, if there was another guy that came along that just said half of what Donald Trump says, like just a little honesty, like even if it's wrong, the guy just says what he thinks.
But it's refreshing.
Yeah, it's just like, that's what's going on. That is why roasting's getting so big. That's why To Kill Tony's so big. It's just mean. Truth can sometimes be mean, but people have been being forced to be polite for so long that they just want to say stuff. And that's always a dangerous place, because that's where fascism comes in, where they just go, let's just say it. Let's just say it. The Jews, let's just say it. The black, they just go too far. And so that's where we are now, where there's going to be mainstream people, Kanye was the first, who just say fucking wild shit, without any comedic twist to it. I mean, you can't even you got to be careful even making fun Jewish jokes now, because there's people out there going like, yeah. You just can't do that. That whole fucking era is just like, remember when I got in trouble for that stimmy check tweet?
That's right.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
You got dragged by Black Twitter.
Yeah, people are silently sitting there just hating that, going like, we don't want that anymore. Another evidence of this, and this is Yanni predicting the culture again, and I'm always right. Shane Gillis, another one. It was like, oh, we can't. He had an Asian joke once. We can't put him on Saturday Night Live. Then now he's one of the biggest comedians. He's doing arenas. They invited him back to host. It's like people they just.
Uh-oh. What was that, a knock?
Yeah, hold on.
You just answer the door. You don't look through the people.
What are they going to do?
Well, they might kick the door in.
Huh?
They might kick the door in. You're not scared?
Kick the door in and do what? And then we'll have a great podcast episode.
That would be the best podcast
Come
ever.
in, nobody lives here. You want to take that TV? It's from 2012. Take it. You want to take this podcast? Sure, but I don't know. What do you want me to do?
Tie you up.
Yeah, these aren't even 4K. I mean, what are they going to do?
They is a 4K.
They could be 4K. You want some podcast lights? I mean, nobody lives here. I mean, the funny thing is, before he knocked, he probably heard the rant. He goes, what are they doing in here? I'm using it as a podcast studio, my friend. So people are just sick of it. They want to hear funny again. They want to just hear like the jokes based on like some sort of uncomfortable truths that we all just kind of deal with. And so we're going to get an era of that now. So I think it's going to be a really good time for Nazi comedians. I think there's going to be like a scene, like comedy clubs, like white only. Because, because listen, there was this era, there was like girl only comedy shows. They were like, it's a safe space for women. So they already tried to do their own zip code. I don't know if you read about that.
No.
There's like whites who try to get their own zip code.
Really?
So yeah, I think you're just going to get, for every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. And with extremes, it just ping pongs back from one extreme to the other. And we talked about that. And then the only thing that they have in common, and then they just become one extreme group against the Jews. And that's where we are.
Where do they want the zip code?
If you Google it, but I can bring it up on my phone quicker than you're going to find it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Don't they have that already? It's called the Hamptons.
They got plenty of them. That's the funny thing. And the irony is they're usually pretty liberal. All white zip code. Yeah, there's some zip code. I mean, this stuff is just out in the open. I mean, this is just Nazi stuff. There was some group petitioning for all white zip code. I don't know where it is. It's hard to find. Probably, they probably don't make it easy to find, but I'm positive of it. I read about it. So someone who's watching this could comment about it if they know the story. But yeah, they like legitimately tried to form, like they went to the local legislature and they were trying to form an all white zip code, this is just not a great place to be.
No.
You know, this is not this reaction. And you got to know that this reaction is coming because of how loony it got, you know, with like, you know, fucking the guy winning the swimming competition and all women comedy shows and just how nuts it got. And we're going to cancel everybody, you know, for everything. It just, this is, and then, you know, you just wake up these fucking loonies. So now these loonies are out. It's just Looney Tunes, baby. It's Looney Tunes. So, you know, that's what we're going to have, unfortunately. It's just, it's an equal but opposite reaction. Guys, smoking weed doesn't have to hurt. That was the only thing I hate about smoking weed is the cough and like how it wrecks your throat. I mean, talk about innovation, dude. Sometimes you just need somebody to be like, you know what? We're going to invent something and we're going to fix the negative. The only negative to smoking weed has been cured. This is as big as penicillin. The freeze pipe. I mean, this is as big a revolution as the vaccine for polio. Smoking cannabis doesn't hurt anymore if you got yourself freeze pipe. All right? You want to experience an icy cold, smooth cloud without the throat burn? Everyone does. The chest burn, the coughing attacks, freeze pipe. This is how they do it. They make a unique line of freezable pipes, which also is nice. It's nice and chilly and cold. Ooh.
They look good too, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can display them. They're so nice. They're glass.
Then people are going to want to hit your weed.
Yeah, if you want to be an aristocratic weed smoker, you get yourself these pipes. They got pipes, bubblers, bongs, and more. That cool smoke by over 300 degrees. Feels good going down. The secret is freezable glycerin chambers. Glycerin. The secret is freezable glycerin. Glycerin chambers. I love that song. That come on every piece. Pop one of these chambers in the freezer for 1 hour. Very simple. And as smoke passes through, it's instantly chilled for a relaxing experience without the afterburn or the coughing. So it's basically just like a beautiful looking bong or pipe. They're just these beautiful glass pipes. And that's all you got to do. Put it in, and it takes away the burn, and it makes it nice and cool. It goes down easy. If you're a weed smoker, you should get that. There's no reason, if you use a bong, if you use a pipe to smoke your weed, get rid of that shit. And this is like getting the new fucking.
That's right.
This is like you're living without a phone.
Yeah, stop rolling those blunts.
Yeah, no more blunt. This is like living life without it. Now that this is available, you don't have to go with those old school pipes that make you cough, and you just get a smooth, cold.
That's right.
Cool inhale. It makes your high better too. I tried it. So visit thefreezepipe.com, thefreezepipe.com right now. Use code Yannis for 10% off your entire order. That's thefreezepipe.com with the code Yannis for 10% off your order. Order today, and guess what? You get free shipping as well. And you say goodbye to harsh smoke forever. This is for if you smoke weed, just get it. And that's why, if you want to know why people really like Donnie T, I think it's because of that. It's because he just says stuff. And that's why people excuse the other stuff, because it's like, well, he's the only guy saying this other thing that, you know, I liked. You know, he's the only one saying we need a wall down there. And so I like that. Because everyone else is going, well, there's no person that's illegal. What about the families? What about our empathy? Think about the children. You know, and people are going like, this is illegal. And they're going like, no, don't call it illegal. They're fleeing from hard conditions. This country was built on immigrants. How hypocritical is that? Your parents were immigrants, and they're just saying all this stuff. And then he's the only one going like, it's illegal, build a wall. We need a border just like every other country. And then people go, hate speech. So it got loony. So then people just get sick of it. Then next thing you know, these loonies come out of nowhere and they want to have their own zip code. So that's where we are. We're not at Nazi comedy yet, but it'll get there. This will be a good time for racist comedians. This is their time. I think right now they're just going to come out and they're going to fucking, I think that's where we're headed. Because where else is it going to go? You know, where else is it going to go? I mean, look how Jerry Seinfeld went and gave the commencement speech at Duke. I mean, comedic icon, right? Seinfeld show. Like half the crowd walked out. I just want to talk to the kids for a second. Jerry Seinfeld is just a Jewish comedian, right? He's just a Jewish comedian. He's not a part of he's an American. He's a Jewish comedian from Long Island. Like, he has nothing to do with what Netanyahu's doing over there. So, like, what are we doing? But, you know, he's Jewish. So, and he at some point went to Israel, and he, likes Israel. So it's like, because he likes Israel and because he's Jewish, they say dozens. It was more than dozens. I mean, when you look at the video, it was definitely more than dozens that walked out on him, and they started chanting Free Palestine. It's like, guys, you know, what are we doing? So this is the type of extreme stuff. I mean, for Jerry Seinfeld, I mean, that's the type of leap in logic, you know, that we're dealing with. You know, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's the same type of thing. Let's say, you know, there's a black guy that goes on a rampage and he kills a bunch of people. And then, you know, Chris Rock shows up for your commencement speech. And then you go, we're walking out on Chris. What does Chris Rock have to do? You don't even see, you think you're not racist, but what you're doing is the exact anatomy of racism. But the irony is just lost on these kids. You're basically walking out on Jerry Seinfeld because he's Jewish. Because last time I checked, he's an American Jewish comedian. He's a comedian of just Jewish descent who's from America. So is there a picture of him with Israeli soldiers when he visited Israel? Yes. I mean, what are we going to... yeah. So what does that mean? Does that mean that he calls the shots on what Netanyahu's defense plans and budget are? Is he selling weapons to Israel? I mean, what are we doing? Even on your position, you're walking out. I mean, it's just racist. It's just bigotry. It's just bigotry to do that. And I would challenge anyone to debate me on that topic. It's such an easy, you just go, he's coming to Duke to give a speech as a comedian. His profession is comedian. He's not Zelensky. He wasn't elected to a position. He's a 70-year-old Jewish comedian who looks great, by the way. And so that's the kind of extremes we live in now. So unfortunately, I think we'll probably see a backlash. That backlash will be worse. It'll be worse. The right-wing backlash is always worse. The left wing is like annoying. And like, you know, I mean, people were calling it fascist, but was it like, it was more loony. It wasn't really fascist. It was more loony. People haven't seen fascism yet. I mean, they weren't like rounding up people. They were just going like, call her. And they were going like, you know, they were doing like a lot of good things. Me Tooing a lot of people, a lot of rapists, a lot of pedophiles, a lot of inappropriate behavior towards women, a lot of good stuff, a lot of racism, a lot of good stuff. But then they just got loony. They just got loony and annoying and loony. And, you know, if you had you just avoided them. If you saw them, like, I don't want to have a conversation with them. You know, they switched their genders a bunch. They got all confused. They, you know, just got all radicalized by every little thing. And they're, you know, trying to be these martyrs for every issue. And that's why they have mental health problems, is because they're trying to be too good. So they have to lie to themselves all the time, right? If somebody assaults them on the street, you know, if their friend gets assaulted on the street, they got to be like, well, what, think about the person who assaulted you's perspective. There's a mental health crisis going on. And if these governments fund, they have to go to that. They got to do the whole AOC thing where it's like, what would you do? These people are just trying to eat. It's like, I don't know if he was trying to eat when he punched me in the head and stole my iPhone on the 6 train. And you go, but they're just trying to eat. So these kids had to do that. And if they didn't, they'd be ostracized by their friends. So they're just forced to lie, go against their gut, because their gut just wants to say, fuck this guy. We need more cops. Okay? I don't care about his fucking mental health. Get your shit together. Okay? I got a stepdad too, or whatever. Just whatever. You can't have endless empathy. I mean, Steve Buscemi just got punched in the face in New York City. And that would be like him going, well, this is because of cruel Republican policies about not housing the homeless. And that's what the kids have to do. That's a perfect, they'd have to go like, I know you got hit and you're in the hospital and things like that, but just think about what he's going through. Think about what the person is going through who hit you, which must have made him hit you. He's not getting the right medication treatments. He's not getting the right proper housing. He's not. It's just a cruel Republican-led war, and that's what they have to do. Instead of going, fuck that guy, I wish he's dead, throw him in jail forever. Can't do that. Is that the guy who did it?
It looks like it.
Looks like the guy. Xavier Israel, 27.
Damn.
No, that's the assault on Stoonberg, somebody else.
Oh, someone else, another actor.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't like this shit. The random punches.
Well, I don't mind it because I think Steve Buscemi can take a punch. He looks very malleable.
He's a little guy.
He's a little guy, but it looks like his face would melt with the punch.
He would
like
just absorb it.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like a melted candle. Like he would just,
yeah.
I
Just
think
like
he's
punching a down pillow.
Yeah, he just would. Yeah, it's like like a Tempur-Pedic mattress.
Yeah, like a memory foam.
Yeah, it would just his face looks kind of indented. He's also very punchable. If you're angry, if you're randomly angry, you're like, where's the weakest guy? Look at you just when you're angry at weakness.
What's this Buscemi hate?
Huh?
What's this Buscemi hate?
I'm just trying to make comedy.
He's awesome. You don't like Steve?
I love Steve Buscemi. Here I am. I'm sorry. Now I'm going to think about it all night. I'm going to worry about Steve Buscemi. I could give a fuck less. To be honest with you, I could give a fuck less.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't live in the city anymore. Maybe you should move. What do you want me to do? I don't know. Don't go outside. I don't. I mean, I don't care. If those were not, that guy was not a Verizon Fios guy either. He had like a paper fucking thing here.
Yeah, if you were like an old woman,
if I was an old woman, it would have been, who would have figured it out.
He would have pushed it.
Good scam. Go for it. At least he doesn't have fucking, he wasn't like a big robbery. It was just some guy trying to scam me. Good. And if it was guys that came in and killed us, that's great too. It's all part of God's plan. What am I supposed to do? Not answer the door? I don't want to be rude, especially because he was a black guy. I would not want to be rude. That would be rude for me to be worried. No, seriously, that would be rude.
You just got to look through the peephole.
Yeah, and then see a black guy and get worried?
Put the chain on.
No, I can't do that, especially when I'm being recorded. I can't do that. I opened it up. I said, "Do you want my house? I'll take my house. Take it. I don't live here. It's empty."
We're going to get 16 migrants living in this place.
Just take them all, whatever it is. Put them all in here. I'm just, whatever. I feel bad for everyone who's not white, man. I feel just they've had it too easy, and that's it. Just white privilege. Just fucking privilege. One of my favorite things was seeing a clip about Kevin Hart talk about how much easier white people have had it in comedy. I'm like, it's not the right spokesperson, right? So you're talking to a guy who's richer than all the white people. It's just not the right spokesperson. Like people have just had enough of like. So he has a victim narrative. So Kevin Hart has a victim narrative too. It's just you're going like, I guess your father, your grandfather, they had something to say, but you now have so much money and so much fame and so much privilege. It's just hard to hear you talk about how you had a hard journey. It didn't seem like a hard journey. I don't want to sound like Cat Williams here, but all I know is like you were hanging out with Jay Oakerson and Philly Comics, and the next thing you know, you were just the most famous man in the world. So, what are we talking about here? When are people just going to go, you know what, thank God I live in America, and on top of that, thank God I have a private plane with like $1 billion. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, what are we doing? Can we just have some honesty? It would be funny if Kevin Hart said, most of the people that look like me have a hard time. But for me, you know why he does that? So then people could go, yeah, instead of going, hey, Kevin, why don't you go open up some businesses in a black, hey, Kevin, why do you live in an all-white neighborhood? Hey, Kevin, You know, that's the real reason why they do it, because it gets them off the hook. You just go, hey, you know, this white privilege thing, you know, for me, I had to go through like 10 interviews where Nia Vardalos only had to go through one. Well, she's not really white. She's Greek. Still white, depending on the context, right? You know, Steve Buscemi just got things like that. You know, I had to, the interview he's going like, I had to give references. I mean, it was really hard. I wanted to throw something at the fucking TV. He actually said that. He's like, for me, I had to give like, he was sitting with Chelsea Handler.
To do stand-up?
No, they were talking about privilege.
Yeah, but what does he have to give references for?
I don't know what he was talking about.
To get on stage?
Yeah, I mean, it was just really, you know, and you can't say that because you have to be black to say that, right? So even now, this is hate speech. I mean, and this is what people are sick of, even though I'm 100% right. Chelsea Handler. I mean, it's just, at a certain point, you just go, no, man, nobody's thinking about you as black, Kevin. You're just famous and people love you.
But he might just be giving her audience what she wants, because that's ground zero for the victim
Yeah, well,
narrative.
that's what it seems like he does.
Like wherever he goes,
Wherever
he's
he
giving the
goes,
audience
he's just
what they
giving
want.
the audience what they want.
Yeah. Because you go on Chelsea Handler, that's all it is.
Yeah, well, he was just talking about that, and it was just going like, it was like the gay guy saying, I'm not gay no more. You're like, wrong person to talk about it. Just, it doesn't feel good coming out of your mouth, Kevin. Where is it? Who knows where it is? But I saw it, and who cares? You can find it for yourself. But he was going, yeah, you know, it's like a white person has to do like one reference where I had to do like 7. He said something very similar to that, and you're just going, how much better can you have it, Kevin Hart?
See, you're fighting this. You got to come up with your own victim narrative.
I'm not fighting it.
You got to play the game a little bit.
Yeah, but how do you feel when you do that? Like, how do people
You're
do
too
that?
concerned with feelings.
No, dude, but no, it's not even feelings. Like, how do you look like people who just lie and make shit up and just don't know who they are, and they just, you know, there's just some people you just listen to them blab, and you're going, they just blab, and then you read some of the comments and people are like, there's one situation I'm thinking about where I know personally that there's a person who could not be more full of shit. I'm talking about, like, if I scan my life for someone who lies more or who's more full of shit or who cares about less, I would think about a person, right? And then I saw a video of them just blabbing, and like knowing the person, you're just watching them blab. They're just blabbing, right? They're just blabbing, and they're fucking blabbing, and it's just all bullshit, like everything. And then you read the comments, like, I just love how honest he is. It's just,
hey, show business, baby.
but it's just, people just can't. First of all, people love fantasy and they love lies because reality is very harsh. So that's always a thing. People will always be drawn to liars and fantasy because it's a lot funner, and reality can be a little bit of a downer. Reality can be a downer. It can be boring. It can be a downer. So it's just, bullshitters always thrive. And I like, but don't take that the wrong way. I love me a good bullshitter for many reasons. I like to be seduced by them because then it raises you have a good time. But I also like to watch them and laugh. So there's 2 reasons why I like them. But I just don't have it. It's not a moral. Believe me, I'm not saying that this is a good thing. I just don't know how you, like, at a certain point, you look in the mirror and you go, what? Like that Bill Burr joke, like, what am I doing? Like, it's just, how do you even remember all the lie? Like, how do you keep it, you know? You don't have an anchor. You're not like a real person. Like, how do you just show up and feign enthusiasm for sitting down with Chelsea Handler? Like, I just can't, you know, I could sit down and probably have a good time with Chelsea Handler. I'd find, like, you know, without getting too deep into it. But I could never, like, go that distance where I'm just lost in bullshit land, where I'm just like, when I leave the interview and I go like, oh my God, that was a different person. Who am I? I could, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, you leave and you go, I just said a bunch of stuff I really don't believe. Who am I? Like, to the point where you're going, who am I? what did I just do? Now I got to be that guy? Okay, I got to remember to be that guy now. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those people actually have to go, I got to remember to be that guy now. Because now you've said you're that guy. You know how much energy that takes? That stresses me out as much as thinking about how many times I got to think of Dylan Dallas to be on my fucking podcast. Those two things just go like, that's just not something. I'm not saying I'm not good at, because you could easily be good at those things. Those are things that are very easy. It's not trigonometry. You just have to have the will to do it. I just don't have the will to do that. Like zero.
Because you haven't set up a reward system. You got to think about your $500 million yacht with the statue of your Latina
Yeah, but that
girlfriend.
doesn't mean anything to me either, a $5,000 million yacht. Because, you know what the funny thing is? Because like when you get a little wise, you realize, you know, that $500 million yacht is going to feel like a $100,000 yacht for Jeff Bezos after 2 weeks. Because that's just how it goes.
He's going to get bored on that thing,
Of
right?
course he is.
Yeah.
We've all had, it's the same anatomy.
Because he's a killer, dude.
Dude, you know how many times I've wanted sneakers so bad and then I've gotten them
Yeah.
and then after a week, I'm like, I'm sick of them.
Because he's built to kill. He's not built to lounge on a yacht.
No, and that's how it goes with stuff. When you get the
It's
stuff,
true.
the stuff doesn't have the same, you know, that's why. Like,
Materialism is a trap.
nobody knows what life's about until they've been through some real fucking tragedy. Because once you've been through some real fucking tragedy, you only hope for one thing. When you're really like low, or you just want health. It's very funny. So like when you feel very sick, or one of your family members are sick, or something really horrible happens, you just want that one thing. So let's say, like, God forbid, a relative or an offspring or a parent tragically dies. The only thing you want is that. And so that's when you gain perspective and you realize, oh, none of this shit, those things don't get old. Like your relationship with your friend doesn't get old. The relationship, that never ends, right? So then you realize, oh, it's really true that, you know, you have to go to a deeper place. When you go through a tragedy, you got to go to a deeper place about what the meaning is. And that's why I believe that God was necessary throughout life, because life was so fucking hard. Atheism only is a privilege. Atheism is a privilege that science afforded. We would all still be religious. There was no atheists walking around before the 20th century. There was no guy walking around. Even the scientists were like all deeply religious. Even Isaac Newton was like, this is for God. And Thomas Jefferson was like religious. He criticized the Bible or whatever. But you couldn't, because you could die of like gangrene the next day. So you were living under this constant fear of death and like, what's the meaning of all this? If I could die tomorrow, and oh my God, if I get an infection, I'm going to die. So you needed to just be like, God, it's in your hands. God, I love you. So atheism is the ultimate privilege that modernity has afforded. Everyone was religious back in the day because you had to, because you would have kids and 4 of them would die. That doesn't tickle. That hurts. So that you need to rationalize. It's too much for the brain to fathom without some sort of spiritual, bigger picture, some deeper meaning. So when you go through a tragedy, you're in touch with the fact that you need to have deeper meaning as a conscious being, that you're just not a salamander who's looking for food and, you know, can just move on from a death. I mean, even elephants mourn the deaths of their kid. So it's like, that's what happens, you know, and that's what happens when you get to the mountaintop too. I think you have that same type of dark night of the soul where you're like, I have everything. I thought it was all about this. And then you become Jim Carrey and you lock yourself in a house and do bad, you know, below par paintings, or not the greatest paintings, and just talk about I'm nobody, I'm nothing. I wish everybody could become rich and famous, so they realize that's not what it's about. Because it is true. But you don't know that till you get it. So that's the problem. So you got to get it first. And then you figure out that you need to find some deeper meaning in life. Right now, we're at the stage where we've gotten to such a level of comfort with the internet and everything that I think everyone is starting to go like, all right, because everything becomes so easy and trite and old and the access is unprecedented. There's no struggle for anything. So now I think it's ironically brought us back to those previous eras where we're all looking for some deeper meaning and going, all right, what is this all about? And I think that's why you're going to see a surge in religion and stuff like that. I would hope it would be a surge in spirituality, in a surge in, because religion is dogma. It's like, you know, it's like there's a king God who's like punishing you. That's like, That's ego shit. That's human created ego shit. It's more of like a spiritual, deeper meaning, trying to use more of the brain, trying to decode fears and brains and reach a deeper place of understanding and consciousness. But that's not going to happen. People are going to go right back to the church because the church it's a drug for spirituality. It's a shortcut. Just like the way weed is, you go straight to the church. Somebody tells you how to think. Somebody controls you, and you just pray to whatever religion you were raised in, and it's a shortcut. You know, because to do true spirituality, you got to practice meditation. You got to make it a lifestyle. You got to work at it. You got to read. You got to experience things. You got to really work for it. So people like the shortcut. Just go to church on Sunday, fix it. Go to confess, boom, dang. It's too hard. I don't got time. So we're not going to make it.
What?
It is kind of a race. Like it is a race. Like the race is. Here's the race. Man's nature hasn't changed. We haven't sort of shed that animal nature of dominance, and so it's still going. The wars are happening. Nobody really knows what the fuck they're about. We just haven't figured out better ways to just all get along and share resources or whatever. You know, those old hates of land dominance and bullshit. We just haven't figured out a way to get to a more enlightened place about it. So it's a race to figure that out quickly, and I don't think we can get, what is it, a couple of billion people on board. I just don't see it happening. You know? It's like we're just not going to get billions of people on board, which would be fine because you still need your criminals and all that to keep it interesting, and they're going to happen anyway. But you know what I mean. The majority. It's like the way we got people on board with democracy, the way we got people on board with certain things. You know, those things didn't just happen like that. There was like a lot of fucking misery that happened for people to get to these places where they accepted certain things. You know, it took a long time just to even admit that the earth goes around the sun. You had to kill a guy by putting him in fucking, the guy who said it. You're like, now you got to go live in isolation, right? Even though you said the truth, it took like thousands of years to admit that shit. Not that long, but yeah, pretty much. I don't remember how long, but there was ancient people who figured certain things out, and you're like, no, that's threatening my money game. We're not doing that. Same thing with oil. You're just going like, that's going to take us another couple hundred years to fucking get off because everyone's making money on that, and it would be too much bleeding, too much change. People struggle with change. People don't like change. Everyone has adjustment disorders, and when something new comes along, their survival kicks in and goes like, Jesse's going through it right now.
Wow.
You got to get a new apartment. You got to get a new thing.
I signed the lease.
You did?
Yeah, I got a new
And
place.
Are you okay? All the changes, you're going to have a new routine, a new block to walk down.
I'm looking forward to it.
Where is it good?
Yeah, I think it's going to be nice.
What neighborhood?
It's in the Guanas.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm practically living in a hotel. You know, that's always been my dream. The only thing it's missing is a pool.
So it's one of those modern
It's
buildings.
one of these modern buildings. It's got like a gym. It's got like a
nice
playroom, the whole deal.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Does it got some square footage?
The apartment's pretty small, but the good part is you don't have to be in the
Just go
apartment.
downstairs. Yeah, go in the gym.
You go to the gym.
Yeah.
You go on the roof deck.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, it's one of those.
It's one of those.
That was put up with Chinese steel.
It's a little heavy in the pocket.
Those what you call Chinese steel buildings.
Yeah.
How come no one's come up with that? That's pretty funny.
Chinese steel buildings?
Yeah, because those are new.
Yeah.
So it's like we used to build those with steel here. Now that's imported Chinese steel.
That's a good point.
They go up quick.
If there's a little bit of an earthquake.
It's a little rumble. Those things come down.
Coming right
like House
down.
of Cards.
A little
They
matchbook house.
build them quick.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They build them so quick.
Good thing this one's a little older. It's not brand new. It's maybe like 10 years old.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's been through a few things.
Been through it. Yeah. Well, that's great. Now
Yeah.
First and foremost, whatever the building is, it's just you got a home.
I do have
That's
a home.
important that you got a roof.
You were worried I was going to be homeless.
No. But yeah, I would just leave that place early. I would just get out of there just in case your landlord falls down the stairs.
It's all good. It's
You're
all
going to
good.
feel so great in those modern fucking buildings.
Yeah, it's all
That
new.
nice elevator.
That's right, yeah.
Probably got like a new small kitchen, but it's new.
It's brand new.
Oh, you probably got like quartz tops.
Dude, the building has its own dog run also.
Oh, you got a dog run there.
In the building.
Yeah, I mean, too bad Silas
Well, it's perfect because I could just shuffle them all. You know, it's like
shuffle him right in,
right
right
into
out.
the dog
Oh,
run
dude,
right
he
out.
may live another 10 years now.
No, don't say that.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Well, he was probably living under so much of the stress of going down those stairs. It was probably.
It's my stress. I got to carry him.
Yeah, but he's you know,
fine.
Yeah, he's probably thinking, I don't want to put him through this. He dribbles a little pee on your leg every time, right? A little bit.
No, but nuggets of shit are falling out of his ass now. It's like I look back, I just see like he just falls out of his ass.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting too old to squat now.
Yeah, he's just walking. All of a sudden, you see like these trails of balls of shit just behind him.
Yeah. I don't know. Find some deeper meaning in your life. Get a dog and buy a yacht if you can.
Put a statue of your girlfriend on it.
And become a spiteful socialist. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's very mentally healthy that if you don't become a millionaire, to become a spiteful socialist. Strong arm the rich people with threats of violence to take their money if they don't build a bunch of charitable buildings and personally give you money. I would love to confiscate a lot of Jeff Bezos' money in a nationalist socialist takeover.
What?
Why not? If I'm the beneficiary?
Oh, you want to take his money?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't want other people to do it because I don't want the chaos. But if I am the agent of the chaos, then I'm safe.
Right. You don't want the government to take his money. You want his money.
Look, I want his money. I don't want the chaos in the streets if I'm not involved in it. But if I'm the leader of it, yeah, I want his money. I'll take his money under the guise of morality and workers' rights for sure. I've been learning a lot about Tsar Nicholas and his family. You know, it's very interesting how everyone views it as this tragic thing. So this is where propaganda in, like, American propaganda actually is true, right? Because I always learned about it. The Bolsheviks, these evil people came. Tsar Nicholas was a fucking Jew murdering, pogrom initiating.
Wait. Set this up for the GED recipients in the audience.
GED.
Yeah.
Okay, so Russia was run for a couple hundred years by the Romanov family.
Okay.
They were czars. Czar is a Russian word for Caesar. They all were just everyone's trying to be Roman emperors. Same with the Kaiser in Prussia. Kaiser is a German word for Caesar, right? 1,000-year Reich. It's all because Rome stayed for 1,000 years. And it was these fucking dictator, feudalistic, kings who ran shit. And in Russia, it was the Romanov family. And the last czar was the Tsar Nicholas II with his German fucking wife, his German whore wife. What was her name? Christina or Katerina or whatever German Nazi name it was. And he was the last czar. So he was murdered by the Bolsheviks, his whole family. They killed the kids, all the girls. And then Anastasia got away. And then there's all these movies about Anastasia or people saying they were Anastasia because I guess they didn't find the body of one of the daughters. And so he's the one who got in bed with Rasputin. You know Rasputin? You never heard of Rasputin?
I told you.
The crazy guy with the long hair who the mystic.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, go ahead.
The mystical monk.
The mystical monk.
So anyway, so you always hear about I feel so sorry for this family. It was like a violent revolution.
I thought his name was Gandalf.
That was from the movie. I think, yeah. He could have been based on Rasputin. But it's always because you had to hate the Bolsheviks, right? And the Bolsheviks, they did some killing. But the Bolsheviks were being fucking massacred, all the revolution. So Russia industrialized. The workers were fucking eating shit. He sent them he went to war with Austria and Germany, and he was losing. He went to war with Japan. They were losing that. He's just sending these fucking soldiers to the meat grinder. Then he's trying to have a son so he can have an heir. He doesn't want to reform. All the other countries in Europe are reforming with democracies. They're getting rid of their kings, or they're the kings are appointing prime ministers and all that shit. He doesn't want to do that. So he's he's living in the old world, and the people are pissed. And then he's trying to have an heir because he has all girls. So he has a son finally, but the son has hematobia, one of those diseases where if you get bruised, you can bleed and die. And it's a Roman disease because some fucking the royal families of Europe are so fucking inbred that it all goes back to Queen Victoria. She had the gene for hemophobia, whatever it's called, hemophobia, whatever it's called. And so it just spread into all these royal families in all these countries because they all, the wife was from Germany. She was a royal family from Germany. They all did that. She didn't even speak Russian. She had to learn Russian, but she was the queen of Russia. And that happened for hundreds of years where the royal families would just intermarry because it would like unite kingdoms and they were all inbred. So all these royal families had kids that would just bleed to death, right? If they got a bruise. It happened all the time. So he had a son, but the son... It's comical in history. This son, so he finally gets this heir to protect the throne and keep the czars going for Mother Russia. But the kid has fucking hematopia, so they got to keep it secret. So no, it's not curable. So they keep it secret, and then the dumb bitch wife from Germany fucking gets this monk who's Rasputin, who's just this cult leader. He's fucking Crystalia. I mean, he has a cult and he's banging all these chicks and he drinks, but he tricks all these people into making them think he has these mystical powers because he's got these crazy nice eyes, blue eyes, and he just fucks these chicks. He fucks everybody, and they invite him into the palace, and he like puts his hand on the kid. And they think that he's healing the kid. So then the people start finding out about Rasputin and then he becomes like the de facto ruler of Russia because he's like has such an effect on the queen. The queen loves her, and the people want him out. All the politicians want him out because they see what kind of grip this peasant from Siberia, who's a crazy monk, is having on the royal family. But they think they need him because he's keeping their son alive. It's this crazy, unsustainable thing that they were trapped in. So the Tsar kicks him out, but then invites him back in because the son gets sick, and so they invite him back in, and the kid gets mysteriously better. So there's that thing. Did he have mystical powers? A lot of people now say he just calmed down the queen, which helped, and also told them to have the kid stop taking aspirin, which acts as a blood thinner and makes him bleed more. So whatever was happening, it seemed that the king and queen were convinced that Rasputin was keeping their kid from dying. So, and then that ended up being their downfall. Like the people started resenting him. His letter, the queen was writing him, and it was like it sounded romantic. I miss putting my head on your shoulder. So then those letters got leaked, and they were printed in the press, and so he became famous. Everyone knew about Rasputin, and like they were making jokes that he was banging the queen, this German foreign queen. And then Russia went to war with Germany, and she's a German queen, and she didn't want to go to war. And they knew that, but the Tsar did because he had to. And then the Bolsheviks murdered the entire family. But they were fucking insane, inbred assholes who were setting up pogroms, blaming Jews. He did the whole thing where inflation was high. He blamed it on the Jews. He rounded up the Jews. He was killing Jews. There was a Bloody Sunday where he just massacred all these protesters. He was killing thousands of his own people. But when you learn history in American school, you're like, these dirty Bolsheviks went and murdered these little girls. It's like, yeah, the little girls were innocent, but what can you do? It's like they were a fucking evil family from a previous era, and the workers were rising up, and the world was changing, and so you kind of look when you find out what kind of a fucking dirtbag this guy was. You kind of go like, I'm kind of on the Bolshevik side.
It was a vibe shift.
It was a vibe shift, like the way it was a vibe shift. It was a fucking vibe shift, dude. It was a vibe shift that he was late to. Sort of like a stand-up comic from the 90s. It was like, dude, you didn't get the vibe shift. We went digital. And a lot of podcasters now do podcasting. It's a vibe shift. People are just not as into it anymore. It's a vibe shift happening. We went from being tolerant of Jews to not. It's a vibe shift. We going from woke comedy to Nazi comedy. It's a fucking vibe shift, dog. Get with the vibe shift. All right, want to give a shout out to exclusiveautoshipping.com. If you're moving your car out of state or you bought your car out of state, hit up Jared. You will get a student or military discount if that applies to you. Otherwise, you're looking for a guy to do it. You never heard of one. I just told you one. Exclusiveautoshipping.com. They're better than the rest, I assume. For the free.art, it's music in Hawaii, guys. At this point, I'm trying to make them cancel. Nate Linder, you know the deal. Nate's hanging on by a thin thread. I don't expect him to be around very long.
Wait, no. He signed up for the year.
No, he signed up for the year?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Because he left before. That's the only reason I'm saying. It's going big, especially with construction companies
Huge.
right now. Huge right now. We need your help, Nate Linder. Do it for free. Because, listen, it helps you. He should be doing a lot of the work for free for us behind the scenes.
That's
Just
right.
do it on your own. Because the bigger we get, the more people hear your fucking ad. It's a symbiotic relationship. So make us big, Nate. He's a digital marketer, okay? You think marketing, you think Nate Linder, all right? If you want to focus on real business results like revenue and new customer acquisition and getting poked in the face, not just clicks. We're talking about real monetization here. You want to rank number 1 on Google? I would like that. Nate, can you do that? And then prove it to me. Think Nate, marketing, think Nate Linder. NateLinder.com. Digital advertising, Nate Linder's your guy. DisplayPros.net. I love these guys because they're still here. And they build custom trade show booths, retail fixtures, and promotional items. Very simple. If you need that, you go to DisplayPros.net. That's as simple as that. And they give you a discount, too. If you mention my name,
10%.
10% off. Of course, want to give a shout out to MA Insurance Services, mostly in Florida, is where Matthew Albani and his MA Insurance Services operates. Okay? They have all types of plans for you, commercial, workers' comp, commercial property, professional liability, general liability, umbrellas at MA Insurance Services, located in St. Petersburg, Florida. He's got a new number, 727-475-1650. And how about this? He's got a new assistant who would love to hear from you guys and love to hear from the fans. So give him a call. Just ask about, plans, even if you want to just call and talk to his assistant. I'm sure she's hot.
You think she's in the United States?
Well, here we are assuming it's a she, which is funny.
True.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's the Philippines.
It could be the Philippines.
think he's-
Hello, welcome to MA Insurance Services. How can I help you? We may call just to hear his assistant. I assume it's a woman because, listen, I don't want a guy assistant.
No.
Yeah, I don't want a guy assistant. They're not organized, and that's the only reason.
Gay guy assistant might be good.
Gay guy, maybe, but I prefer a woman. They're very organized. They're nurturing. They tell you where you need to be. They're very organized. It's just organization. It's nothing to do with your tits. So listen, if you are a business in Florida, hit up Matthew Albani. You're a new business. You're starting up a store, whatever you need insurance, hit him up, okay? If you're a homeowner, hit him up. Whatever you need, whatever insurance you need, you hit up Matthew Albani at mainsuranceservices.com or call him at that new phone number, 727-475-1650. All right, Cap Protect. You know the deal. If you're a bettor, if you like to throw some money, some juice on the games, there's no reason not to check out Cap Protect. Go download their app at the Google Play Store or the App Store. They use machine learning AI to simulate game results, do all the data for you, and give you the best betting advice possible. Here's the best part. It's free. It's free. There's no loss to you. It's only upside. All right? You probably got to look at some ads or whatever. That's how they make their money. Whatever it is, there's no reason not to, if you bet on games, download Cap Protect, or you can go to capprotect.com as well as download the apps and just see what they got to say about what you're thinking about betting on. Simple as that. Rebels Raiders sending us some shirts. Can't wait. He does not have body armor for sale. All right. But he's currently working on his own plate carrier, which carries the body armor. So a bag for the body armor. He does have military surplus, which is military packs and load-bearing equipment, magazine holsters, and stuff like that. I mean, he's
the best.
if you're up to no good, you can shop with Rebels Raider. But if you are up to good as well.
Yeah, if you're defending our liberty.
Yeah, if you're defending our liberty or you're a good guy with a gun. Or if you're just traveling at the fucking airport. That's what I use my bag for. It's a great bag. So he also has custom-made shirts on the website. I'm getting a fucking shirt. I'm wearing it proudly.
Large? I told him you're a large.
Huh?
I told him you're a large.
Yeah, I will try large or extra large.
You want
Probably extra.
Oh, you're an extra large?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm a large.
When it shrinks. You're a large?
Large.
Tell him to send a large and an extra large. He can't afford one extra shirt.
All right.
Yeah, we'll get 2 larges and an extra large. If you're positive you're a large, I'll do it. But look, does he have the backpacks up ready yet or
Not
no?
yet.
So he's still out of. You got to get back in stock with the fucking backpacks. Those are a hit. I mean, here you are sending fucking plate carriers. How many? The only people you're going to be speaking to are school shooters and fucking vigilantes. Where's the backpacks, man? Okay, you got to have the goods. That thing is incredible, dude. I fit so much in that fucking backpack. I want to steal Jesse's. I use it every weekend when I go on the road. So go to rebelsraiders.com. Right, that's rebels-raiders.com right now and check them out. Check out the website. Suds Auto Spa in Bridgeville, south of Pittsburgh. The larger the job, the farther they'll travel. What do? They clean your car, man. They clean your car. If your car is your baby girl and you want baby girl to be squeaky clean, you want your car cracked and cleaned, you hit up John Pappas. Info@sudsautospa.com, or you can call him at 412-564-5033. I love to support small business because I don't want the world to just be one big Walmart, you know? It's like you got to support, for America to flourish, you got to support small business. You really do. So hit him up. Automotive longevity services like ceramic coatings, paint protection film, storage solutions, car capsule units, storage assets are designed to keep your car dust-free and safe from impacts. Give them a call, 412-564-5033, or email them at info@sudsautospa.com. You can follow them at suds_auto_spa on Instagram. PCB Tech Art. If you're looking for marketing swag in the form of keychains, ball markers, bag tags, maybe you need a PCB design consultant, prototyping. Let's just hire them to do ours, and then we can sell them, right? Like on the website or something.
Well, like Yannis Pappas hour keychains.
Yeah, shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think someone wants that?
What do you guys want? Yeah, what else do they make?
Ball markers.
What's a ball marker? You put that on your balls?
Yeah. If you want to mark your balls, so you know whose balls they are.
Bag tags. People want bag tags. Do you do shirts and shit? Use the code Yannis10 for 10% off your order. They also sell on Amazon. So if you're looking for any marketing swag for your business, hit up PCB Design Consultations, prototyping or 3D printing services. Check them out at PCBTechArt.com.